What's up, you guys? Friendly Neighborhood Geek here, doing another um, video game review, this time on Ultimate Spider-Man for the Nintendo DS. Yes, I guess we're gonna do a little Spider-Man week, because the previous video was on Spider-Man 3 for the Game Boy Advance. Now we're talking about Ultimate Spider-Man for the Nintendo DS, and then I decided I'm going to talk about Spider-Man Friend or Foe for the PS2, because that's a really, really solid Spidey game. Um, so yes, I believe this came out in 2005. I think the DS version came out in 2005 as well. I'm not entirely sure. I know the console and the Game Boy version has. I've played the Game Boy version, but I probably won't talk about the Game Boy one's okay, but I probably won't talk about that one honestly. But the DS one, the Game Boy version was a friend of mine. My friend let me borrow it for like a weekend or something. But this one I did have. This is my personal copy. Um, I think I bought it from GameStop. I didn't get this game when it came out. I got it, some years later. But I had a good time. I enjoy it for what it was. But like I said, I think the console version is probably the strongest version. Personally, I love the console version. Like I love the cutscenes and the storyline and the way the characters look. They look just like the comic books. For those who don't know, Ultimate Spider-Man was very, very popular in the 2000s. The Ultimate Universe was, I think, Marvel's attempt at just modernizing the whole Marvel universe, and the Ultimate Universe became, I think, Earth 1610. The main timeline is Earth 616. So it became, its own separate universe from the original Marvel comics, which was just trying to modernize everything and try different storylines and stuff. And some people would say it was kind of hit or miss with some of the different comics, like X-Men or Fantastic Four or Avengers, for example. But a lot of people said the Spider-Man one really, holds up well and was done really well. So that's really cool, really, really neat to know. Also, another little factoid. One of my first videos was on the MTV Spidey cartoon. Originally, that was supposed to be an animated adaptation of Ultimate Spider-Man, to my knowledge, or at least inspired by the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. But because the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie was so popular, did so well, they decided to kind of make it like a loose adaptation based off the first Spidey movie, which I don't know. I like both, honestly, but I think it would have been cool to have gotten the Ultimate Spider-Man show in the early 2000s. Um, but like I said, so what is the story of this game? Basically, what the selling point about this game was you could play as Spider-Man and you can play as Venom, who both play very differently from each other. They both kind of have their own individual storylines that eventually intertwine throughout the story, and of course, I think Venom is the final boss at the end. Um, but a lot of stuff happens. A lot of Spider-Man stuff happens. Has to fight supervillains. Like I said, we have an overarching story about him trying to find out his parents' past, and in this timeline, his dad, I believe Richard Parker, was a scientist who may or may not have worked for Oscorp. I'm not entirely sure. I know that was the storyline in the Amazing Spider-Man movies. Um, but he's trying to find the mystery of what happened to his parents specifically, and Shield's involved, and like I said, he fights different various Spidey villains from the Ultimate timeline, and just a lot of stuff. Like a lot of stuff happens. A lot of cool stuff happens. And Venom's side of the story is cool as well. He's also trying to find out what happened because Eddie's father and Peter's father worked together. They were partners, and I believe they kind of a spoiler. I believe in this universe, the symbiote was a man-made entity. It wasn't an alien that came from space, to my knowledge, which is cool. That's different. That's different. So like I said, Ultimate Spider-Man had a really cool story. It just felt like you were playing through a comic book, essentially, which was, I think that's what they were going for. Um, so like I said, the DS version pretty much is, just adapts the story from the console game. It's a little bit more straightforward. It's a little bit more simplistic. One cool thing is, I believe Peter and Venom both get power ups. Like they can obtain different abilities. I know Peter can. I'm not sure about Venom. So I guess that's kind of cool. There is somewhat of an upgrade system, sort of. I really like the way the game looks, the graphics, the 2D or 3D models on the 2D plane. Really charming, really charming. Of course, there's different missions. You might have to rescue people from a burning building, which seems to be very common in Spider-Man media. Stop a robbery at a bank or something. Uh, like I said, you fight various villains, which is really cool. I think the Shocker, Electro, Silver Sable, who's like an assassin or something. Um, I think you fight the Green Goblin, Beetle. Like I said, you find a lot of cool characters. Uh, so does Venom. Venom. Now, unfortunately, I know in the console version, kind of a spoiler, Venom fights Wolverine in a bar, which is probably one of the coolest moments in the whole game. It's so random, but it's so cool. Like the F, you just randomly fight Wolverine as Venom. That is so cool. Unfortunately, I don't think, from what I remember, that fight's not in this game, which is a huge bummer. That would have been so cool if they adapted that fight in the DS version. But Venom does fight Carnage, and that is a fun fight. That is a pretty cool fight, honestly. Which that fight was also in the console version. Um, yeah, and there is a two-player mode, which I like I said, I got this game secondhand, so I didn't get to experience two-player mode. Trying to remember, two-player mode, you could play as regular Spidey, you could play as Venom, you could play as Spidey with the black suit, which is really cool. I'm curious to know how that would have played differently from the regular Spidey. You could play as Carnage, which was neat, and you could play as a regular Peter Parker. Yes, in the opening of the level, which this took place in the console version, you fight Venom on the football field at the high school. It's like a thunderstorm. It's raining. It has an awesome backdrop, and you're fighting Venom as just regular Peter Parker. So I believe all he can do is just jump and punch and kick. He can't do any web swings or anything. So that's the only time you play is just regular Peter Parker is in the opening level. So the only other time you can access that again is if you replay the first level or if you do the multiplayer. So I'm kind of bummed about that. I wish those characters would have been accessible in like New Game Plus. Like you can run around in Venom's levels as Carnage or something, or you could run around in Peter's levels as regular Peter Parker, um, or like I said, the black suit Spidey. So I kind of wish there was replay value, like New Game Plus type of content, because like I said, it's kind of a one and done type of thing. Once you beat it once, you know, I wouldn't say there's not a reason to go back to it unless you're just really in the mood for it. That's just to me that's kind of how it's set up. Like I mean, that's all there is to it. It's just the story, the different missions. You can replay the game, for the story and just to experience it all over again. But there really isn't any replay value. And like I said, if you don't have a player two, I think the other person has to own a copy of the game. You can't access the second player. I mean, the two-player mode. I think it's like fight, yeah, like a 1v1 fight or whatever. But it's cool. I enjoy it for what it is. It's very charming. It's kind of a childhood game of mine. I haven't played it in years, but I would, consider going back and playing it again. But like I said, the console version might be the way to go. But I just wanted to shed some light on this one. I like this version. So again, if you're interested, like, comment, share. Like I said, check it out. You can buy the physical copy or play it on emulator. It's probably what I'll do whenever I get around to playing it again because I no longer own the physical copy. But yeah, like, comment, share, and stay tuned for the next Spidey video. Peace, you guys. What's up, you guys? Friendly Neighborhood Geek here, doing another video game review, continuing our little Spidey week. I'm gonna briefly talk about Spider-Man Friend or Foe. Yes, I didn't play this growing up, unfortunately. I played this last year for the first time. Well, like, yeah, for really the first time. I briefly played a little bit of it on a friend's computer. We were at school one day. But this is my first time actually playing it all the way through. Um, yeah, this is a fun time. Honestly, kind of like with Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer for the PS2, and I'll be covering the PS2 version. This is one of those games where it's more fun to play with someone else, and I think this game was intended to play with another player. So I'm back in the day, if I had got this, like one of my close friends lived right next door to me. This is a game me and my friend could have played back in the day. Actually, I was going to get this game back in the day, but the copy they had at GameStop was not in the best condition, and they didn't really feel, they didn't feel like, we don't feel right selling this to you, and it possibly not working. So they insisted that I get something else. I was like, all right, whatever. And I think I got a different game. Um, but yeah, like I said, this is kind of a beat 'em up, a multiplayer beat 'em up. If you could see by the illustrations on the cover, see Venom, Doctor Octopus, and Green Goblin, of course Spidey on the cover. These games, obviously, the character designs are inspired by the Raimi trilogy. Of course, we do get some characters who weren't in the yeah, they were in like the Spidey movie games, but I really like that. This kind of, I mean, the characters. One thing I like about the excuse me, the look of the game, it looks like if you took the Raimi trilogy and made a cartoon based off it, this is what it would look like, which is really cool. Um, so yeah, this was developed by Beanox and a couple other developers. Beanox has worked on other Spider-Man games. I believe this was published by Activision. I can't remember how many levels there are. It's a decent time. This game might take you like a couple of days to beat. Excuse me, to beat, honestly, which that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Like I said, it's very straightforward. It's a beat 'em up game. The storyline, all of Peter's villains basically try to gang up on him. I guess Sinister Six style. They try to gang up on Spidey. And then all these creatures who kind of resemble symbiotes, show up, and all the other villains are transported to different places. They're all brainwashed, and Shield gets involved, and they recruit Peter like something really weird's going on. And of course, since this all took place in New York City, we want you to get to the bottom of it, help us find the culprit, and track down all these villains that are now loose. So of course, one selling feature of the game was your allies, your enemies become your allies, which was really cool. So I mean, we see Spidey team up with Goblin in one level, and of course you have to fight all these characters. Minus, there's a few, excuse me, there's a few characters who are not villains who are in this game, which is really cool. Silver Sable, who's kind of an anti-hero, I guess. I talked about her in the Ultimate Spider-Man DS game. Black Cat, which actually Black Cat was one of my favorites to use. I used her a couple of times, upgraded her. Yes, you upgrade the different characters throughout the game. They all have different abilities, which is really nice. That's really cool. There's an upgrade system in this game. But yeah, I upgraded Black Cat, and I even used her in the final boss battle, which I won't spoil who the main villain is of the game. But that was really fun. I really like playing as her. So yeah, if you do single player, you can go back to who you want to play as. Whoever Spidey is partnered up with, you can play as that character. You can play as Spidey, and you can go back and forth between them throughout the level, which is really cool. Like I said, Black Cat's in the game. Silver Sable, I'm not sure if she's in this version. Um, I'm trying to remember. Blade, which is really dope. Blade's in the game. Kind of a missed opportunity. Daredevil should have been here. Like Daredevil should have been in the game. I'm trying to remember. Iron Fist. Yeah, Iron Fist. The Prowler. The Prowler has become quite popular since, excuse me, those Spider-Verse movies have come out. Yeah, the dialogue in this game is charming. Has a very cartoony feel to it. I forgot the name of the actor who voiced Spidey in this game, but I believe he also voiced Ratchet from the Ratchet and Clank series, which I'm not too familiar with. I think he's voiced Spidey before in other projects, which is really cool. Like I said, all the characters have different abilities, which is nice. So each character can do different. When you upgrade them, they can do different abilities. But like so, the combat is very. I wouldn't say it's bland. It's just very simplistic, and this was intended for a younger audience. Now, like I said, an older fan like myself, can an older fan enjoy it for what it is? Yeah, of course. It still has its charm to it. But like I said, I think this is a game that's more meant to be enjoyed with another person. It's set up to be played by two people. Um, but yeah, it's good. The level design solid. Music is solid. Like I said, I like the graphics. Would have been nice if, characters could have had different costumes, look more like their comic book counterparts or some things. Change Spidey's look outside of, the black suit at the end. But of course, I'm sure all that was because of Spider-Man 3 coming out. This came out the same year as Spider-Man 3, and the fact that the character designs are all based off the Raimi trilogy. Um, so they wanted this to be more so inspired, like to look like the movies than the comics, which I get, but it would have been nice if that would have just been a cool bonus feature to be able to swap their costumes. Like I said, there's a DS version, there's a Wii version, there's a PSP version. I think you could play this on PC. I'm not sure. I know there are some differences with the other versions. Like Carnage is one of the characters you could team up with. Electro, maybe Morbius. I'm not sure. I don't think so. He might be available. And like I said, Silver Sable, I think she's playable in one of the other versions. So it's cool. It's fine. It's solid. Again, if you're interested, check it out. Maybe check out some gameplay. Like I said, I wish I got to play it growing up. I think I would have appreciated it more back then. But again, I had a good time with this. So, as always, like, comment, subscribe. Oh, my bad. I thought I was on YouTube for a minute. Like, comment, share. Uh, well, I guess I could say all the characters real quick. Like I said, I mentioned all the hero characters: Black Cat, Prowler, Blade, Iron Fist. On our villain side, oh, I forgot New Goblin, Harry Osborn, New Goblin. He's an ally in this game as well. But I think you could only unlock him like on New Game Plus or something. See, Venom, Doctor Octopus, original Green Goblin, Sandman, Rhino, Scorpion, um, the Lizard, yeah, Dr. Connors, and they all play, you know, differently from each other. And another cool feature, Peter has you and your player two have an ultimate together, a team ultimate. We'll see a cutscene, they'll do some really cool stuff, and they'll pretty much just take out every enemy on screen. Which again, I'm a sucker for those mechanics, so that's a lot of fun. That's a really cool gameplay feature. Um, but yeah, like I said, check it out if you're interested. Like, comment, share, and stay tuned for more. Peace, you guys. What's up, you guys? Friendly Neighborhood Geek here, doing another retro video game review, this time on Spider-Man Edge of Time. Yes, I wasn't anticipating to talk about this one, but it just kind of randomly popped into my head. It was like, oh yeah, why not talk about Edge of Time? So this, to my knowledge, is a sequel. This is a sequel to Shattered Dimensions, which sadly I didn't play that growing up. Um, I played a little bit of it, keyword, a little bit of it on my phone. I had that's why I play a lot of these older games. I have emulator. Emulators give you the ability to play like old school games on modern hardware if you don't, have access to the physical copy of the game. So yeah, I use emulator to play Shattered Dimensions, the Wii version. And due to the controls, it was kind of hard to get the controls to work because some of the actions in the game required you to have motion detection or whatever, motion controls. Um, so I kind of had to put it down unless I'm able to figure out how to get the controls to work properly for me. I don't know when I'll be able to jump back into Shattered Dimensions, but I would love to. What I did play, I enjoyed, so I really want to go back and play that. But I grew up with Edge of Time. So this was published by Activision. This was developed by Beanox. I think I've mentioned them before. They believe they also developed Shattered Dimensions. Um, Random. I also did play the DS version, but that one for some reason it was too challenging. I didn't get very far with the Wii version, unfortunately. But I still have my Wii, and I still have the physical copy of Edge of Time. I don't know if it'll come in that well, but yeah, I want to show that real quick. It says your actions in one world impact the other. Fight with the agility of Amazing Spider-Man and the technology of Spider-Man 2099. So yes, we play as present Spider-Man, everyone's favorite Peter Parker, and we also play as Miguel O'Hara, who was the somewhat antagonist of the last animated movie. So that's pretty interesting. Fight today, save tomorrow. 2099, a chaotic dystopian future results from the untimely death of Spider-Man. Fight across the span of a century to save the world and Spider-Man himself in this thrilling race against time. So yes, this is a time travel story featuring our favorite webhead. That is pretty interesting. The writers did a good job with the storyline. Here is the manual, and here is my copy. So, and you see, I got it from GameStop for $31 some change. Well, if you're a rewards member, it's 31, but it was originally 35 pre-owned. Yes, bought a lot of my games from GameStop back in the day. But yeah, I'm glad to still have that copy. I don't know if I'll ever sell my Wii at some point. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I had a lot of memories playing that game. I bought it in 2011. I believe that's when the game came out. Gosh, that was 14 years ago. I think I was like in sixth grade. Holy crap. Um, but yeah, it's a good game. Right off the bat, it's a good game. If you like Spider-Man, of course, I think you'll have a good time with it. It's just for me. I feel like Shattered Dimensions kind of had more going for it. In Shattered Dimensions, you played as Amazing Spider-Man, you played as 2099 Spider-Man, you played as Noir Spider-Man, who was like a 1930s take on the Spider-Man character, and he plays Ultimate Spider-Man with the black suit, so he has the powers of the symbiote suit. I just feel like there was more variety with that game compared to this game. But a game that solely focus on two different Spider-Men who play differently and have different abilities. Again, I think that really they made that work. They made it work for the sequel. Um, so yeah. So really quick before we get into the story, because we're already 4 minutes in. Voice cast. Peter Parker was played by Josh Keaton, veteran black. Oh, my bad. Veteran Spidey voice actor. He voiced Spider-Man in Spectacular Spider-Man, which for a lot of fans, a lot of people consider that the best Spidey show they ever put out. He's voiced Spidey on other occasions as well. 2099 Spidey is voiced by Christopher Daniel Barnes. He was 90s Spider-Man, so his Spider-Man show probably was the most longest running out of any Spider-Man show. Well, yeah, maybe Ultimate. I'm not sure the Ultimate Spider-Man show may be equally as long as the 90s show, but yeah, Christopher Daniel Barnes did a phenomenal job as 2099 Spider-Man. Really cool. Our main villain was played by Val Kilmer. Our celebrity voice, Val Kilmer was Batman in I believe the 90s Batman and Robin movie, where Jim Carrey played the Riddler. So that's pretty cool. Uh, excuse me, Steve Blum, veteran voice actor. Fred Tassiori, veteran voice actor. Fred Tassiori played the Hulk on many occasions. So again, voice cast, great, solid, awesome. So what's the story? Like I said, time travel story. So Val Kilmer's character, Walker Sloan, is a businessman. He has a company named Alchemax. He's trying to create Alchemax in the present or in the past, present. Um, so I guess it could be like the greatest company, the number one company in the world. And Alchemax also does some shady stuff, some criminal stuff as well. So keep that in mind. So of course, Spidey is like, Miguel O'Hara is like, well, you're messing with time and space. That's not a good thing, and he wants to, stop Sloan from achieving his goal. That requires he ends up being too late, and the past is altered, including Peter's. So Peter's time is altered basically. Originally, of course, he worked for the Daily Bugle. In this version, with the altered timeline, now he's a employee at Alchemax, which of course isn't right. That's not how it's supposed to be. So of course, telepathically, because fiction, telepathically, Miguel is able to communicate with Peter, and he tries to tell him like, what's going on. We need to work together. You need to be on high alert or whatever. Peter kind of brushes him off, doesn't really believe him at first. I mean, even though it's like, well, Peter, you're Spider-Man. Crazy stuff happens to you all the time. But this particular situation, Peter's kind of like, whatever. It's this. I'm just imagining things or whatever. And so I really like, which was in the trailer for this game. I remember the marketing for this game was really, it really caught your attention. Like, holy crap, what's going on? In the story. Um, Anti Venom's on the loose. If you're not familiar with Anti Venom, honestly, just Google him or look him up on YouTube. But he's a different variation of the classic Eddie Brock Venom. Um, so yeah, Anti Venom is being mind controlled by Sloan, and he is basically programmed to K-word Spider Man, and he gets very close to doing so. We see Peter literally, at his wits' end. His powers are drained. He can barely stand. He's shaking back to I forgot what it's called. He's moving back to back like he's in a daze or whatever. He can barely throw a punch. Like we see Spidey at his lowest for the most part, where he can't fight back, where he can't defend himself anymore. So I'm trying to remember. So eventually, Miguel is able to rescue Peter. He pulls him through the time portal. He's able to save him, places Peter in a healing chamber that heals your injuries. So now Peter, for the rest of the game, Peter is in the future timeline, and Miguel is in the past or present timeline. Miguel is able to defeat Anti-Venom. A whole bunch of other crap happens, kind of spoilery territory, but it has a really good story. It has a really good story. A certain love interest of Peter's, technically two, he does have two love interests in this game. But one ends up needing to be rescued. Miguel has to rescue her. And Peter, we get this awesome moment between Peter and Miguel. And it's really well written, really good. Peter's speech is really just felt very in character. I won't spoil what was said. Um, but yeah, like I said, the story is great. Gameplay is great. Really, from what I remember, I didn't have too much challenge with any of the missions. There was one boss fight that gave me crap, and I had to lower the difficulty just to get past that level. I don't know what it was, but that one boss fight was very difficult. Like I said, the Wii version, it's fine for what it is. It was on 3DS, PS3, Xbox 360. So, check it out. What's up, you guys? Friendly Neighborhood Geek here, doing another handheld superhero video game review. Uh, this is, if you've been with me, following me for a while, then you know that I've done a lot of handheld superhero video game reviews. So it gives you an idea of the type of games I used to play in my youth. Um, so today we're going to be talking about, I would say this is an underrated gem. This is a game I could go back and play, and after I do this review, I might go back and play this game all the way through. Green Lantern, Rise of the Manhunters. Yes, this was published by Warner Brothers Games. This came out June 7th of 2011. Wow, I remember when this game came out because I got it around the time it came out. This was developed by my favorite handheld development studio, Kryptonite Games, who I believe they're defunct, or maybe they changed their name. I'm not entirely sure, but I loved this era of Kryptonite when they made a lot of the handheld superhero games, and I think they even made like some games in the Assassin's Creed series, like for the DS or something. They made an RPG of Percy Jackson, the Lightning Thief, which I may or may not have did a video on. I'm not entirely sure. But the fact that Percy Jackson got a video game based off the movie, which wasn't well received, but the game was, and the game, had a very long storyline, which was really cool. But yeah, yes. So, boy, in case you weren't aware, Green Lantern came out. I'm assuming it came out 2011, starring Ryan Reynolds as Hal Jordan, one of the most well-known and most popular versions of the Green Lantern character. The movie didn't do so well, unfortunately. I wouldn't say it wasn't Ryan Reynolds' fault. It was the writers and all the other stuff that went into that movie. um, but I would say he redeemed himself with Deadpool. I think we all could say that. Um, Well, like I said, I haven't seen the movie in almost a decade. I'm sure because I can watch bad movies, especially bad superhero movies. I'm sure I'll probably watch it again at some point. Um, I do know the new Superman. If you haven't seen the trailer, Green Lantern will appear in the new Superman, played by Nathan Fillion, which will be the Guy Gardner Green Lantern, who I really like. And I believe the actor who played Mufasa in the new Lion King movie. I believe he's going to be the new John Stewart Green Lantern. Not sure if he's going to have his own movie or if he's going to be a Superman. I think he's going to have his own movie. I'm not entirely sure. So that would be really cool. So it seems like they're trying to have Green Lantern make a comeback. Of course, there's animated movies, Justice League Unlimited TV show, which is mostly focused on the John Stewart, so the Black Green Lantern, which was really cool, played by one of my favorite voice actors, Bill Lamar. Uh, excuse me. There was an animated series, Green Lantern animated series, maybe like around 2012, 2013, maybe, where Josh Keaton, who is a very well-known Spider-Man voice actor, who played Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, Josh Keaton played Hal Jordan in that animated series. It only had maybe like 2 seasons. It was really good. It got canceled. Damn. But I recommend that show, and I recommend the animated movies, Green Lantern movies, if you're interested. So, let's all that backstory. Let's get into the game. So apparently, like I said, there was also a Wii version. The Wii version was ported to the 3DS, which is cool. There was a PS3, I think Xbox 360 version, which is kind of a beat 'em up. Kind of takes elements from like God of War, Devil May Cry's, those genres. I think the console version would be a lot more fun if you could play it with a friend. It's multiplayer. Um, like I said, I grew up with the DS version. The DS version is the one I like, etc., etc. So apparently this is supposed to be like a sequel to the movie, but some of the story elements feels like it could take place like during the events of the movie, or maybe this is like a split timeline from the movie, however you want to look at it. So of course, Hal, our main character, he is a new Lantern. He goes to, I believe, Oa, which is the Green Lantern's sector, homeworld, planet, whatever. And he's being taught how to, use his powers, and he's now like the new Lantern who oversees Earth's, I guess, solar system or something. So we meet all the other Lantern characters who are veterans at that point. We do get a little tutorial section. Again, the character models in this game really charming. The aesthetic really charming. The soundtrack is solid. I love, like I said, love the graphics. Like Kryptonite always had a certain way. Like it has always kind of used a similar art style with these superhero games, like with the Captain America, the Wolverine, uh, the Iron Man, um, and some of the Spider-Man games that they did. And Green Lantern kind of fits in that same style, the same art style that those other superhero handheld games had, which I really, really appreciate. Had a very, very charming. Those games had a very charming art style. So, like I said, they're training, and the Manhunters show up. In Green Lantern lore, Manhunters were the guardians of the I guess not universe. I don't know if I want to say universe, but they were guardians. They were the original guardians before the Lanterns. I forgot the leaders. There's these certain characters, kind of like with Transformers, how they have the primes who are the leaders of the planet, so to speak, guardians of the planet. Um, Green Lantern, the Lanterns kind of have something similar. They have like a group of beings. Like I said, I'm not entirely sure. Like they're like elders, leaders, however you want to say, who are head of the Lantern Corps. They originally had these Manhunters who were robots, be the protectors of the universe or whatever. And then they all got corrupted, and like I said, they lacked emotion. They lacked uh, what's the word I'm looking. They lacked empathy, and I guess they tried to turn on their creators, and they had to be taken out, shut down, all that stuff. So somehow they have returned. They're attacking the planet. So Hal is sent on a mission to stop the Manhunters on all these individual planets that they are on. Um, I'm not sure if you fight. I can't remember if you fight other villains outside the Manhunters. I believe you do. Like I said, I can't really remember. So you meet different lanterns that were teaching you during your training on these planets. You learn different abilities from them, like you learn how to block attacks or shield yourself. You get the ability that where the ring can heal you down the line, which is really cool. You can do all types of make all types of contraptions with your ring, blades, hammers, fists, excuse me, all these really cool constructions that you can do with the ring, the power ring. You obtain these abilities throughout the game. So you do see a level of I can't think of the word. Right, a level of growth, so to speak. Like in a traditional game or RPG, you get upgrades and you can see a difference in your power from when you started to where you are towards the end of the game. The cutscenes, the illustrations in the cutscenes are really solid, very well put together, very appealing to look at when they pop up. Like I said, the character models look good. The combat is cool. You press the B button to jump. If you double press the B button, you can fly in midair. You can fly throughout the levels, which is cool. The flying controls are okay. A little floaty, but they get the job done. Um, that's all I can really say though. It's a very charming game. If you're interested, check it out. My only gripe, honestly, is that there's no bonus content, no unlockables like with the previous superhero games, like Captain America, Wolverine, for example. They have unlockable costumes, which for a handheld superhero game that really adds to the replay value. Like it would have been nice if you could play, even if they're just like skins. You could have played as, like I said, the Guy Gardner Lantern, the Kyle Rayner Green Lantern, the John Stewart Green Lantern, the original Lantern, Alan Scott. Like it would have been really cool, or maybe play as Hal in a different outfit or something. That would have been really cool. Kind of a bummer that that wasn't, they didn't put that in the game. But like I said, it's like a little minor nitpick. But again, I recommend it. It's fun. It's charming. I think it's underrated. Check it out if you're interested. Um, yeah, and check out Green Lantern as a whole. Check out the animated series. Check out the movies. Check out the books. I recommend it. Peace, you guys. What's up, you guys? Friendly Neighborhood Geek here, doing another Black History Month oriented review. Also, I apologize. There's noise in the background. Having some work done in my home. Um, yes. So this is part 3 of David Kirkman's milestone comic universe, I guess. This time we are talking about hardware. You see at the top. The stars Thomas Anderson, Jarrett Michael Collins, Ashley Satina, and Keith uh, Neurobism, Neuroball. I'm not sure how to say Keith's last name. I'm assuming Thomas Anderson. Um, Holy crap! I think that's the same name as Keanu Reeves' character in The Matrix, Neo. I think his name was Thomas Anderson. That's kind of crazy. Um, yeah, I believe Thomas Anderson played our main character, Hardware. Um, so I'm assuming this character is a milestone comic character. If you don't know what Milestone Comics is, at this point, just Google it. But I've talked about the company and the first 2 fan films being Icon and being Static Shock or Static. Um, so yeah, like I said, this is part 3. I believe they're making a part 4. David Kirkman, who's a filmmaker, has his own YouTube channel. You can watch all his content on his YouTube channel. Um, like I said, so I believe this came out in 2021. It's like 40 minutes, which is decent. So again, you can watch it like an hour. Out of the 3 fan films so far. Also, I think I was gonna say, yeah, I believe they're making another Static movie. They made a trailer which looked promising, so I'm not sure when it'll come out, but hopefully we will see it, and hopefully I'll get around to reviewing it when it comes out. Um, yeah, but like I said, what is this? So real quick before we get into the story, I do want to say out of the 3 so far, I think this one had the best quality. I like the action a little bit more in the other two fan films. With this one, I just feel like they, like I said, the level of quality was the best out of the three so far. So what is this about? You have our main character. I can't remember his name. For the sake of the video, we'll just call him Thomas. We have our main character Thomas. He is he's basically Black Iron Man. He's basically Black Tony Stark. And again, that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. Except he doesn't have his own company. He works for a company instead of being the owner of his own company. Um, some stuff happens. He wants a higher position in the company instead of just being the person who just makes all the weapons, all the tech, all the technology. His boss, who we see in the first two fan films, who is a main character in all three of these fan films, doesn't give him that position, and there's some other background stuff that happens, the reasons why that didn't happen. So I think he finds out that they're using his technology for evil purposes, and he decides to create like his suit, which is kind of equivalent to the Iron Man suit, to fight crime and I guess stop their plans, whatever sinister plans they have at play. Um, so like I said, it's fine. It's good. It has a nice story. You know, it's easy to follow. The dialogue and the acting and everything is really good. Like I said, our main character did a good job playing this superhero, playing this character. And like I said, the parallels to Iron Man aren't a bad thing. It's not. It's not a bad thing. I don't see it as a ripoff. I don't see it as just copying the Tony Stark character. Um, like I said, like it takes some ideas from Iron Man, but still tries to be its own thing. Um, or maybe a better example, he's kind of like a mixture of Iron Man and the character Steel from DC Comics, who's an ally affiliated with Superman, who was like a black inventor, uh, John Henry Irons or something, a black inventor who made like a full-on metal steel suit, and he carries a hammer, and he's a pretty cool character. Um, but like I said, really, that's all I can say. Honestly, it's kind of a short one. Acting's good, casted great, writing was solid. Like I said, this one's very dialogue heavy, which again is not a bad thing. Um, it does keep your attention. Like I said, it is entertaining. Um, like I said, the suit, like he wears a helmet, so the full on ensemble is really cool to look at. You see where the budget went to. The fight scenes are okay. The fight scenes are cool. Um, so like I said, it's good. It's fine for what it is. I recommend it. Like I said, it's kind of crazy. All these movies are like a trilogy, and then we have a fourth one on the way. So again, you can like watch all these in like a couple of days and have a good time. They're very well put together fan films, very well written fan films. Um, so it would be awesome to see these characters on the big screen one day. You never know. Like a Static Shock movie, Static showing up in a DC movie would be really cool. So yeah, check out Hardware. Like, comment, share, and stay tuned for more. Peace, you guys.